I never truly understood what that meant. Now that I budget it, I'm like, I tell the money where to go. Welcome to the best hour of their day podcast with your hosts, Jason Fernandez.
And me, Jason Ackerman. With more than 20 years in the business,
As both coaches and affiliate owners,
our passion is to help create world-class affiliates
and coaches by building
better
boxes.
Welcome to
The best hour of your day.
Julia Brown, CrossFit Tullahoma. We're going to talk about
In Connecticut.
in Tennessee.
No.
In Tennessee.
I was going with it.
We're going to talk about your rate increase that you were...
Fighting me.
You fought everybody. You were the...
You might win the prize, actually, for the longest holdout.
longest holdout, most
Toughest to deal with.
perceived stress, I would
I
say.
get a
Like,
trophy?
like, what are all of the things that can go wrong when I do this type of thing? Then, spoiler alert, wildly successful.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about it. You, former teacher.
What grade did you teach? I knew that, but I don't think I ever asked you what grade you got.
Pre-K and pre-K special ed
Oh. Yeah.
for 13 years.
Man, now some things about you are shocking.
What? What's shocking?
Meaning, like, she was, like, really stressed out about all this stuff, and I'm like, dude, you teach pre-K special ed kids, and this is stressing you
It's
out?
different. I mean, when we talk about Julia and the rate increase, this is what it comes down to. Julia was afraid to be perceived at the box as, her words, on mine, money hungry. Correct?
Those were it.
And this is, I'm going to tell you, I didn't talk to you about this. This was how I made it happen. I think so. Fill me in. I remember it was in Memorial Day weekend-ish because Roz was away, and I was just doing work in the kitchen because I remember being in the kitchen. My shirt was off, I think. Was my shirt off?
Yes, it was.
So,
This is... You're not pitching the program well here, but...
or am I? Shirt off, rate increase, successful? Huh. But I said, she's
We're
like,
professional
she
here,
was
best
like,
hour.
I'm concerned about being perceived as money hungry. And I was like, well, just say that. Like, tell your members that.
Yeah.
And she wrote this really long email back. It was a little too much. Mm-hmm. So we narrowed it back. And then I think that was that the
we went
trick
through
that
like 2 or 3.
did that make you feel better by just putting it out there?
Real quick, can you pull that a little closer to your face, the microphone? Yeah, there you go. It's going to be, like,
That's what-
awkwardly close.
There's a
It is
that's what
awkwardly
there was a
close.
that's what she said
yeah.
hidden in there. We put that close to your face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Boom.
tell me
You know
about
me.
it, Julia, because you were the first person I was like, you know what? Let's just tell your members that's how you feel.
Hey, I'm having reservations about this.
Yeah.
I'm afraid it's not going to go well.
I'm afraid you're gonna feel this way. Go ahead.
No, so you had me write out this very long letter, and then we pulled it back, and then like wrote it, like trimmed it up, and we just kept trimming it up. But I think it was just the writing it out helped the anxiety come out, and then we worked through it, and it got better each time we wrote it out, and easier to then convey to them.
Yeah. I was happy. I mean, I was happy you did it.
So, what was the outcome?
We only had like a couple people push back or question, but then we also had a lot of people.
Go back to that. Yeah.
We,
Because everybody thinks the first one's going to happen, and it's always the latter, right? You're like, hey, push back. And you're like, oh, they actually just had questions.
Yeah, we only had one who's kind of questioning the value because he's been there forever, and thinks he has a good grip on everything.
Right.
But no, what was really surprising was the people who responded back positively, and they were like, oh, we're here to support you. You've done so much. And I was like, you're being nice about this. And I just asked you for more money. It was so
it was substantial.
crazy.
You went from those guys, because this was at the Nashville Mastermind. I remember we chatting with you and Matt, and he was all for it. And he was like, please tell her. And you were at 150, I want to say, at the time. Or
No.
No.
No,
No.
current rates.
119?
No.
Your old rates were 100.
No. Our old rates, when we took over, were $75 a month.
But your rate that you were at, I was saying, was
At
150.
that, 100 in January.
Okay, then we jumped to 150.
Not yet.
Wait. Then walk me through, because clearly getting it wrong.
Yeah, so we started.
I remember it was really. I don't remember the exact number. It was low.
You told me you're the cheapest CrossFit in America because
in America
it had been that way for 10 years, $75 a month. And
I remember that saying that.
Yeah. And then we immediately took over, went to 100 for veterans. Actually, I think it was for everybody. The next year we upped it. Of course, for new people, they were a little higher, and we increased $15 a year per. So now we're at $145 for veterans. And
when you say veterans, you mean your long-term
members, right? Yeah. And then we implemented the 4-week billing cycle recently. So,
affiliate owners, if you want to grow revenue, what you need to understand is impact first. Offering the best classes and changing people's lives is how you get the revenue that you are searching for inside of the affiliate. And that starts with running fantastic classes here inside of the box. If that is something that you are looking for, we've got world-class coaches that are going to help you do that and help you run a better box. Everything from the coaching on the floor to the systems on the back end, we're going to cover it all. Book a call. We'll see you guys on the inside. How did that go?
Really well. I had so many questions about this.
This was one of the toughest ones I've ever had. Out of 800 affiliates, this is one of the toughest ones. That's why she's sitting here right now.
What was?
Let me just ask this question. All the things that you thought were going to go wrong, none of them happened.
No. And I will say it's because
of me.
Of the whole team, being walked through.
Mostly.
I didn't want to propose it and not fully understand it. So then Joel actually sent me a letter to help me explain it in terms of as it corresponds to our billing cycles, our programming. And I was like, These are the words I need to be able to then reiterate it, and helped me understand it. And then I was like, yeah, this does make sense. So now I can confidently be like, this is why we're doing it.
But I love what you say, because really best hour is a team effort, right? I know I was hitting you with, we need to do this, and Fern was probably hitting you with and rationally this is what, and then sometimes you just need Uncle Joel or somebody else to be like, hey, and here's how you can explain it. So you're getting bits and pieces, and that's why our business development team is at 6-7 people now, all five people, all amazing coaches, but all bringing a little something special and unique to the table. I mean, goes without saying, everybody loves Joel because of his ability to help with the mindset, or just listening to Steve talk, or now Max and Allison.
What's one of the biggest? How long have you been in the affiliate? 2 years?
A year and a half.
I was gonna say it was
March 1st of 23.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's one of the biggest shifts that you've had as an affiliate owner? Because I will say this: we're giving you a hard time.
I like it. It's
right. However, I will give props where props are due. I would say specifically in the last 6 months, you have made some significant shifts. Not even business shifts, I would say, just kind of as a professional, as a person. Do you recognize that?
Yeah, I do. I think, one, it became that first year under your belt of experience. The mindset course really kind of pushed me into learning, be confident in what you're doing and who you are, and stop worrying about so much what everybody thinks. And then know that my intentions are for the good of everyone else, and not doubt that, And I started getting feedback from members that helped me reassure what I'm thinking, that they see that I want what's best for them, including this recent 4-week billing. I didn't really get pushback except from one person about that. So,
and there's strategies around that. But I mean, when I say she was adamant, she was less than $100, she was I cannot do that. No, but literally everybody will quit. And I was like, I don't think so. But I was like, hey, I get it. You weren't ready. So I was like, we can only take this so far. And then you're ready. And I'm like, okay, now. And then he talked to you. Obviously, Joel talked to you. And then
I yelled at her. I wouldn't say I talked.
But I appreciated that yelling. I needed it sometimes.
I would always have to follow up with hey, I'm sorry, but I just care. And she would always be like, I know, I appreciate it.
Why are you the way you are?
I was so angry all the time at her.
But I appreciate it, yeah.
And one, like you said, like zero pushback, and
And this is about as big of a shift as you could make, honestly.
Yeah.
Enterprising structure. I mean, it was substantial.
she would always be on our smaller group calls, and I remember one. I was like, hold on. So what you're saying is, you don't understand. I live in such a unique area of the United States, and we have such a unique community here that I know 150 is like an average fair rate, but you don't understand. These 100 people are so special.
That's exactly how it went.
This is like what I was like. This is what you're saying to me. Like, I know you've coached hundreds of people, but you don't get it. I, Julia Brown, am very special, and this will not work in this one specific region of Tennessee.
In Tullahoma.
In Tullahoma, in the United States. And I think that time, I felt like that was the time there was like the first, like, I cracked the ice a tiny bit.
Yeah. And then the call when you told me, you're like, you're the worst kind of person. You're a martyr.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I still have that saved on my phone as a video, as a reminder.
I said,
like,
oh,
yeah. I'll show you stuff later.
Was that a text?
No, on a call.
Oh, you
a video.
saved it?
Oh,
You
I
went
saved
back
it.
and recorded
I did, so I had to remember that constantly.
Yeah, it was that. Now that you say it, was because you are. That was like, you are the worst human being.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, sometimes our
it
coaching
worked.
just involves berating people.
Also, I'm no longer on the business development team.
No, but I mean, it
That
was
happened
a
very
good
shortly
reminder.
thereafter.
That's why I kept it on my phone. I'm like, you can't do this to yourself. You know, it took somebody like you saying it clear like that to me to
You're the
impact
worst
me.
type of person.
Exactly. Stop being the worst type of person.
Let me
Do something for yourself.
So you're definitely not the worst type of person.
I stand by my statement. He
Second.
speaks for himself.
Second worst. What did you? Because I know you did the Mindset Joel course, or the Mindset course with Joel. When you think about that mindset as a gym owner, were you able to figure out what that was about?
I think I'm still figuring it out.
Okay.
But
it was,
I am
speaking
growing.
for you, I think it was just you were worried about the perception of who you were at the gym.
Yeah. And to take people who had been there for so many years
Right.
and just expect them to want to change.
But let's also throw a few things out about Julia. Like, all the while, I mean, you transformed your body,
Oh, yeah.
right? Like, how much weight have you lost?
I don't know, 20, 30 pounds.
20, 30 pounds. I mean, you have two.
Just in a magazine. Magazine.
Yeah.
What's it called?
It was classy, for the
Yeah, yeah.
record.
Okay.
Pictures were classy. No, it was like a local.
Yeah, it was a tri-county publication.
Like a full 2-page
Right.
spread, though, right? Yeah, it was badass. Yeah.
Yeah, and you have teenage daughters, right? Two girls, and point was, I also recognize, like, you're not someone who's not doing work,
Right.
right? So that was one of my frustrations. Like, I know you're doing the work. I know you're doing the work on yourself. I know you're doing the work at the box, and it was like, but we still can't pay ourselves. That's what it kept coming down to. Like, we still are not making any money. You left your career, and I was like, well, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
Yep. So still not paying ourselves yet, but
But the rate increase just is going into effect.
right.
now,
And we went ahead and we upgraded our coaches substantially because the members are seeing the value. They're all in the coaches development program. They're all excited. They're writing lesson plans every day, and so it was more important for me to give back to them and show them their worth than for me right now. But that's the next step. Paying myself
Which is going to happen when?
soon.
I mean, if it doesn't happen, you're
Because you just
choosing not
started
to.
doing.
Yeah, 4-week billing just started August 1st.
No, that's not. You know where I'm going with this. You just also started working on your.
Oh, my budget. Yep.
This is the
Yeah.
other thing that she fought me tooth and nail on. I'm just like, hey.
Why'd you not want to do the budget?
I have money issues. Like it stresses me out, and then when I don't understand something, I want to shut down and just like not do it.
Well, and that goes like
And
we were
it's not
talking.
fun. It's not fun.
Right. It's certain. Well, I would argue the way we teach budgeting is actually kind of fun.
Yes,
And the
yeah.
fun comes in just having a better. It's like, is doing Fran fun? No. But when I know my 4-minute Fran is going to become a 3-minute Fran,
Right.
now it's fun.
And I have a strategy, and like, you know, I've set up for it. I've got the right workout clothes on. you
And also,
know?
if I do all that,
All that.
but also if I do this, I'm going to see money in my bank account.
Right.
And like Fern said, now that you're doing a budget, 4-week billing started August 1st. So come August 29th-ish, you should be able to budget again. And
Right.
is there a line item in your budget now for owner comp?
There will be. Joel worked us through like the percentage we should be taking, and so that's the next step.
She's doing all the right things, right? So it's just like starting to. But again, what I think is worth highlighting here is this kind of story arc is not unique to you, which is like, hey, there's going to be multiple things you're going to have to overcome as a business owner, whether it's like, hey, my issues with my members or my personal issues with whatever. And sometimes people can do it in 3 months, and sometimes it takes a little bit longer. But once you get over them, you're like, oh, this is the fun part. Like, I actually enjoy this now instead of wanting to light the place on fire every day, because there were those phone calls too, and you're like, I hate everybody here. Like, this is the worst.
Not you, Emma.
Not you.
Not
yeah,
you.
yeah. No, you're good. But I want to recognize that process is very normal,
Yeah.
right?
It didn't feel normal in the moment, but
It never does. It feels horrific in the
Right.
moment. Yeah.
And it's funny, I with tracking my stress level on my ring now, every time I'm at the gym or doing gym work, the stress is super low. And so it's like, it's become a comfort to me.
I want to
Like,
see that when you hit send on that rate increase.
I can probably go ahead and track it. Yeah, right. But yeah, it's a comfortable thing now, even the struggles, but being there, it's just like, it's what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah. But it's a process like everything else, and you're getting kind of towards the backside of that. And sometimes it's going to take how long it's going to take.
Yeah.
Right? And then all the while, what I would argue is, like, as you've overcome these different components, you've become more empathetic, become a smarter business owner, and more importantly, starting to check the boxes on the 3 things that would make any gym owner successful, which is, I tell everybody when they start, I'm like, if you want to be successful, do these 3 things. Number 1, show up. You've done that, right? Constantly on small group calls.
Some might say too much.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Right.
Me.
Right. Meaning, like, hey, no matter what's going on at the gym, you're there. Right. It's like training. Right. I'm a person who trains. Right. 2, get your budget in place. Financially literate gym owners or financially literate entrepreneurs are better at everything across the board. And 3, manage their time. Right. And she's put all 3 of those in place. And I think, and I would argue, you don't even have to do all 3 of them well. If you're doing all 3 of those in any capacity, it would be virtually impossible for you to be making, it'd be virtually impossible for you to not be making progress, to fail.
Yeah. And I do think if I had done the budget like you said in the beginning,
when we assigned
at
it.
the beginning, I do think maybe I would have made more financial progress. However, I don't think mentally I was there to be able to support that.
I
financial-
would even remove that soft talk. You were not.
I was
prepared.
not.
Yeah.
No, I was not there
And
mentally.
so many times with the budget, it's that, or it's, I know it's a mess, and I don't want to know how much of a mess it is.
There's
Right.
that. That's been the last year.
Right.
Right, but now at least you see
Yeah.
the value in it, because it's no longer actually a mess. It's just not organized.
Right.
Like the
getting
money's
there.
coming in.
Yeah.
Now you have to budget it.
Well, essentially what it is like, hey, you cannot fundamentally fix the problem until you like, we're going back to like, hey, I don't understand. I'm like, well, you don't understand. We don't understand this either. And we cannot fix it until we understand it, which means we have to put framework on it. We have to start to structure it, and we have to start to, okay, where does it go? It's like I tell everybody, it's like a food log. You cannot fix your nutrition unless we know what you are currently eating.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot skip that
Track
step.
for 7 days.
Track for
Right.
7 days. Hey, figure out where their money's going. You're like, oh, fuck, it's going to a lot of different places that I wanted to go. Cool. Now we can fix it. I know exactly where I can start cutting things off and moving money around. And then all of a sudden, you go from feeling helpless and never wanting to log in your bank account because you don't know what it says to just being like, oh,
Exactly.
I'm going to move. I know, right? Right? To being like, oh, I get to control where the money goes.
Right.
And this is one of the first things that we teach people. And I remember specifically when I did it, you both probably heard you're like, hey, money should be an employee. Instead of you being a slave to money. And until I've actually truly learned to be a budgeter, I never truly understood what that meant. Now that I budget it, I'm like, I tell the money where to go. Right? It only goes where I want it to go. It goes no other places.
Right.
Right? But having that control, and instead of feeling helpless and reactive to it, you feel like, hey, you get some sort of unexpected expense. You're like, okay, I wasn't expecting that. That did come out of left field, but like, I still understand how to solve it now. So even though it does stress me out, it stresses me out like this much. because I can immediately go into problem solving mode. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna adjust the budget. I'm gonna move these things around over here. That's not where I want it to be. All right, and then I'm like, okay, cool. 33 days from now, we're gonna be literally back on track where we were. Right.
That's a big part of it too.
That's where I hope I am soon.
You will be.
Yeah, but just
Okay.
knowing by doing this, I can see when it will be
Correct.
fixed
Right.
again.
Yeah.
Right. Or it's like training for a marathon or 5K. Like I know if I do this, by the time I get here, I'll be where I need to be.
Yep.
You've given Joel a shout out. How about Nick True?
Oh yeah, Nick's wonderful.
Nick's our budgeting
Nick's our budget coach, yeah.
I think after the mastermind in Nashville, he and I stayed there while everybody cleaned up and talked for maybe like an hour and a half, and he really helped me reframe what I needed to do and why I needed to do it. So
You've given Joel a shout out. Nick True now has received a shout out. You know who hasn't gotten shout outs?
are you wanting one?
Us two. Us two.
I don't need one. I'm good.
Julia,
And Steve.
you want to give Steve a shout out? You want to bypass us? Go right to Steve. What do you want to say to Steve?
He stays on me too.
Yeah?
Constantly messaging me about
I feel like
budget too. But
you're
yes, you
requiring a lot of our coaches' bandwidth to level
sorry.
you up. It's like a 5-person
okay.
team for
I
Julia.
I agree with that.
But it's worth it. It's
Okay,
worth
thank
it.
you. Thank you.
Well, in our defense, that's not by accident. So
Yeah.
we have a weekly coaches call where we are like, hey, who?
Where we discuss you.
Yeah. It's about Julia. That's the title. It's the Julia
The
call.
Julia call. Trouble
no.
Clyde call.
It's no, but like we go through the roster and be like, hey, who needs what? Who's got something going on that everybody here needs to be aware of, so that we can support and that we're all tracking on whatever the thing
Sounds
is.
eerily familiar to running a box
Oh,
and
look at
having
that.
members.
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, Julia's not been in. Who's reaching out? And Fern's done a great job putting together on the biz dev team. Kind of like I hate to use this analogy, but it's kind of like a basketball team. Like you got your center.
I have
You got a
players.
shooting
He likes
guard.
that.
I have my player. I have my.
Like, you
I
know
have
who
my
to plug
position.
in,
I have
like,
my
you-
position specific players, and then
Max
it's,
Isaac's like a strong power forward.
and he's a
Is that right?
no, he's a swing guy.
He's a swing.
He was great. I had his first call this week.
Did you?
Yeah, he did great.
He's the man.
He's like a 2-3 combo. Yeah.
Name your team. Who's your team? What,
What do you mean?
like, from a basketball analogy, who's the center?
Steve probably.
What does that mean?
Meaning like Steve's kind of like the center post, kind of like, so Steve's superpower is like he really loves the leadership and the team development piece, right? And if you're like, hey, kind of most things kind of revolve around the center, which is like that's what that looks like. Max is kind of like the 2 guard, 3 guard. Joel's like your 3-4, where he's like Dennis Rodman. He like
Oh,
cleans
really?
things
I would
up.
have put him in like a point guard. Like
No,
you
that's
said.
Allison. Allison's the one. She's the analytical one. She's the one who's just like, hey, this needs to be clean. This needs to be in order. Like she's the one who draws the plays.
But really,
Joel's like Dennis Rodman. Joel's like fills a very niche need in there.
and his
that,
hair
like,
is green.
I was about to say, can we dye it? That'd be great.
Yeah, that most people don't want to do. This is why he's
That's
Dennis
true.
Rodman.
Oh, yeah.
Dennis Rodman's like, dude, I don't want to do anything other than rebound. I'm like, nobody wants to do that. And Joel's like, I don't want to do anything other than like mess with
Mindset,
people between the ears. And I'm like, nobody wants to do that. You know?
We got to call Joel the Worm
Yeah, he is the worm.
moving forward.
He's
and
the worm.
then,
Is he your point guard?
Who?
me?
Jay? No, Allison's
I'm off the
point guard.
team.
Oh,
I got kicked off the
Yeah.
team.
Yeah.
I'm the bench warmer.
I'm the true 2.
What's that?
I'm a shooter, baby.
You're still
I'm
still.
still.
What would I be on the team? I don't know. I'd be like
You'd be the water,
Water boy.
yeah. mascot. So,
Great minds.
do you agree with that?
I mean, yes, but I'd have more than a team of 5.
How many are on basketball team?
Well, I know basketball.
Is it 5?
But you'd have to be on there.
Oh, you want me on it?
Yeah.
I feel like no. You and I are like
Jay's the announcer from Major League, just a bit outside.
no. I'm like over here doing like calling Jordan when you're ready.
Yeah.
You know, you got that team over there.
Listen,
Just bring
dude.
in MJ over here.
God.
I got you.
No, I literally was telling my friend Gio, I was like, you remember when we met at the games? Because we talked about this last night. I was like, I thought he was like the most arrogant person because he didn't have the time of day for me, but he didn't know me and I didn't know he was filming. And I was like, but honestly, he stays on me. He texts me all the time. And without that support, I was like, he's the most caring person.
I tricked you, one, because I don't care.
No.
and
But
God,
that support I need.
Well, my wife says the same thing. She's like, yeah, I mean, I get why people don't like Jay, but he's like, actually, he's quite an endearing person. And I'm like,
Jeff said that about me.
I'm like, who the fuck are you talking about right now? But
No, we were talking at the pool yesterday, and she was like, when we coached at the affiliate
yeah,
in Madison, I didn't have any recollection of it.
But you were filming in your defense.
oh, that
and I
was
didn't realize
54
that.
people in there.
Yeah, we had like a
Yeah.
60-person
Yeah,
class. Well, we weren't in class, right?
No, we weren't in class.
So anyway, rate increase went well. Let's
great.
get back to it. How has this impacted your relationship with Matt?
I mean, we talk about money more openly now.
But Matt
Like,
being your husband, like,
yeah.
has it helped you gaining confidence there? Because I didn't think there was any like stress between you, but I did feel like if I would have spoken to him, he's like, I would do this yesterday, and you were, and that could be
Oh no, he was fully in that boat.
right,
And I had,
but it can be problematic when
Yeah, yeah.
when couples own a box together and have fundamental disagreements or thoughts about things.
no, they're just moving at wildly different speeds
Yeah.
typically. Yeah, this one's like safety, like the emergency brake is on, and this one's like, oh, I ripped the brakes out. You know?
Well, and I also got the vibe from him. It was like he was feeling the same, where it's like she deserves more. She's just not valuing herself, and all these.
For me, it was like I'm there all the time, so I almost was in it too much.
Yeah.
Then I was in my head about
Too
it.
close to
right?
the sun,
Where
yeah.
he's only there, at night, so he saw the value, but then I was like seeing everybody in the morning and then mid morning, and it just became like I got in my head.
Yeah, and
in my
that's
head.
true because he's showing up. It's like seeing someone that lost weight over. Like I saw you at the end, so
Yeah.
he's showing up and like, "What are you talking about? This place is great." And you're like, "I see it every day. I'm not noticing a difference."
Right.
You're
And-
too close.
Yeah.
I like
was.
the analogy is we're at the CrossFit Games, right? And a lot of people are like, you and I judged for 10 years on the floor, and people are like, oh, judging, and I'm like, it's sometimes judging, depending on what's going on there, is really difficult because you're actually too close to the athlete. I'm like, I can't see what I need to see when I'm arm's length away. It's like it's too much in my field of view. And it's the same thing as a gym owner. If you're in it every day, like it's too much for you to process. Like you can't read the label from inside the bottle. Like you got to actually like move out and be like, oh, shit's going pretty well.
Yeah,
You know?
and doing everything.
Right.
Like, so, like, I was, the money, the client contact, the follow-up, like, it was too much. So I had to, like, start giving off tasks, and then I could focus in, and I could see, oh, no, we are doing all this, like, broad view,
But you do have to do all the things. And I'm always very candid about this. Like you do have to go through that phase,
Yeah.
which is like you don't get to skip. Because when you skip, inevitably you are a poor manager because you don't understand it, at which point you couldn't possibly lead or manage something that you don't understand.
Right.
So I tell people, I'm like, hey, some of this is going to suck. But understand, like, there is an end date to that. And the end date, you get to build something that works, you get to hand it to somebody else, and then I get to fulfill a different role, which is I get to help them manage or teach them. But in order to do that, it's like you couldn't develop a coach if you've never coached.
Right.
You wouldn't know what to say. Nothing would make sense. You'd say same things that were out of context. Be like, oh, yeah, this is just how you do it. And they're like, what? It makes no sense whatsoever. So it's the same thing for a box owner, And but again, I'm always super candid. But I'm like, some of it is going to suck, and there's no way around it.
It does, but it gets better.
Right.
And then I see the value in going through that suck, if you want. I came
Yeah.
from it. Now I know how to avoid it next time or to work through it even.
That's the key piece, though, which is like, hey, I did it. I recognize it. I now can start to decipher patterns or see something maybe a little bit earlier, and I can avoid it now instead of just sticking my head in the sand and saying, oh, well, just hope it doesn't happen next time. And I'm like, it happens every year on the same day. Like, fuck affiliate dues, right? Or like every year,
Yeah, so I will say in the same thing, I've become more confident in like the 4-week billing was a little bit different, but like the last price increase, I was able to be like, this, you will see the value, I wasn't quivering. And then like I jumped into proactively asking, a couple people that had concerns instead of sitting back like I did the first year and like waiting and thinking about it. And I just realized it was easier just to nip it early on.
First.
Yeah.
Engage
and
first.
It made it way more peaceful and positive.
There's essentially, again, we kind of talked about this before, but like it's a negotiation to some extent, right? We're not really negotiating like the price or anything like that, but at its core, it's a negotiation. I'm going to change something and you have to agree to it.
Right.
Right. And one of the strategies inside of a negotiation is like, go first. When and where you can, always go first.
Right.
And I think a lot of gym owners will wait and they'll be like, then somebody says something, they're like, hey, is this going to be happening? And I have an issue with this, and now they've gone first, and now it's weighted towards them. But if you preemptively step on the floor, hey guys, here's what we're doing, I've essentially set the anchor point, and now everybody will be forced to move towards me.
Yeah.
And doing that helps tremendously because you're like, I was here first, boom, I initiated, now you have to come towards me.
It's become very empowering, and it's also like I'm not hiding anything anymore.
Right.
You know, it's here's my cards.
Right.
Now if you have an issue, come talk to me.
Yeah.
But a year ago, that was not me.
Yeah, well, you feel like a pinata. You're just like, I was waiting for people walking in my office and throw shit at me.
Very good analogy, yeah.
That's how most gym owners feel.
Yeah.
They feel like a pinata because they're just waiting to sit around and be whacked with sticks. Like people just walk PVC pipes and beat the shit out
Well,
of
and
them.
it's like we said yesterday, like not yesterday, earlier today, where if all your communication is negative, now you're going to feel that way.
Right.
I get asked all the time, what gym software should a gym owner use? And the short answer is, I don't care. What I care about is the companies like PushPress design software that helps gym owners run better businesses. So if you're working with a software company, you're not happy, and you don't know what to do with the information that software gives you every single day, check out PushPress. They've got built-in systems like the 180-day journey that we helped them build inside of PushPress Grow that'll help you interact with your clients at a better clip in order to improve your retention. So if that's something you're interested, reach out to those guys at PushPress and help you run a better box today.
Hey, what's the next thing I'm going to be frustrated with you about?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, what are you not going to do that we ask you to do next?
Oh.
What do you hesitate?
I think we've gotten over the big ones.
Do you think so? Like, is there anything you know, because you're in your second year with us, so is there anything you know you've been avoiding that it's just like, oh, shoot, when are they going to realize it?
No, not yet. I am really tackling this whole budget thing and the planning it out for the year in advance. Like, that's going to be my next big issue instead of...
Meaning like your calendar?
Yeah,
like
the calendar,
PVBs
but then
and stuff?
budget in my head, like planning... I guess that's what you just
Well,
said.
like you said, your affiliate dues are going to come due
Right.
again, or we need to replace rowers periodically. Like, you're just looking a year out.
By the way, the equipment fee was wonderful.
And you've done you've done all of the money
Yeah.
stuff.
That was huge. And
Tell us about that
I was gonna say we
before
got
we
5
wrap
new
up.
rowers this year.
So what did you do with your equipment fee? $50 a household?
Uh-huh. And we only had, I think, 2 or 3 who were unable to pay it out of everybody. And like I said, there were members that were so excited to see the new equipment coming in. So we got 5 new rowers. We got some, bands, the ab mats, just things that need to be
you needed.
replaced after 10 years or 13 years of use.
But we held off on that too, though, because you had
Oh,
brought
yeah.
it up way early in the game, and I said absolutely not.
Because I didn't want to rate increase equipment fee
Yeah,
before
no.
you build. Like,
Well, you
I didn't-
weren't ready. Like there was many
No, it
things,
wasn't.
and so again, there are certain tools that are highly effective, but you cannot use them out of order, or they will only bring you pain.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm going to do the equipment fee. I'm like, no, you're not. You're not. You're not
We
ready.
waited 6 months for it.
People are
after
going to be
that.
like pitchforking
Yeah.
and torching your house. Like you can't do that.
And 2 people not doing it is it's common. It's actually very good. I mean, when we coach the equipment fee, it's first year, you can opt out.
Right.
You're in until you opt out, but 2 people opt out. You
Yeah,
still
it was
brought
amazing.
in, must have been over $5,000 to get 5 rowers and
Yeah.
all the other equipment.
And it's like
Super exciting.
And now I've given them 14, 15 months heads up on this thing that's now
Right, and now
going to
next
happen
year
in the
it's
future.
easy.
Right.
Every year we know we can.
Again, not for everybody, not all the time, but it is a really useful tool. But
And
what
that
I
can
want
be
to
said about anything.
But what I want to highlight here is that like in that time you've tackled all of these things have a significant compounding effect as we stretch the calendar out further and further and further.
Definitely, yeah.
And that is the important piece, which is like, hey, yeah, because we did have we'll call it a significant problem to fix, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say it. Like this is one of the ones that's like, oh, I was like, that's an issue. Like that is a financial problem.
It was.
But it was like, hey, this is going to take a little bit, but I can tell you it will be fixed on this timeline.
yeah.
If we do it right, you will fix it, and there will be minimal to no fallout, which is always the goal that we're shooting for. We're never like, screw these people. If they don't want to pay it, they're out. I'm like, there's probably a better strategy than that. And you've done that. And I think those are 3 big ones. And those are 3 big ones. If I was like, hey, what gives affiliate owners the sweaty palms? I'm like, it's probably those 3.
You've done them all.
And you've done them all. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm gonna
She has
speak-
sweaty palms right
Yeah.
now.
I'm going to speak on behalf of Fern and the team and tell you, Julia Brown, we are proud of you. You've done it. It's been really good. You've also
She's doing it. Let's
She's
rephrase
doing
that.
it.
I was
Oh,
supposed to say I'm doing it.
She's doing it.
Always
And,
can
and
improve.
one thing she's doing better than she used to is leaving me less voice messages. I've had to have, we had a
Hey, calm down.
I like to
Audio
leave
messages.
audio
Audio.
messages.
Yeah.
I like to
Voice
leave audio
memos.
messages.
Yes.
I don't like to receive them.
You don't like to receive anything.
Yeah, I prefer
Never
there's a
to-
handful of
never
things
to-
I can think that I like to receive. But yes,
But you can't hear the emotion with just a text. Like, you've got to hear the worry in my voice as I'm stressing about
He's
this.
not trying to hear the emotion at all.
that's
Yeah,
why
yeah.
I'm trying to remove it.
Yeah.
But it's been really awesome because candidly, like there are times I wouldn't say I'm frustrated, but it's
Oh
more,
no, that's a perfect word for it. Yeah.
maybe
but
frustrated.
not just you though. He's speaking generally.
Frustrated
Okay.
where it's like you have affiliate owners, you have members that are like, Sally, you can do this weight. Like, I'm not giving you this weight to fail.
Right.
Or
Right.
you can show up consistently, and it's like, no. And you just, Tony Budding, an old school guy in the CrossFit community, used to say, you can only care a little more about your clients than they care themselves, or you're both going to be stressed. And that's what I felt. Like, I would tell Fern, I was like, I feel like we're both stressed out, me and you. And to hear that you're doing it and it's working just makes me very, very happy.
Just
So-
wish I would have told myself to trust the process a little bit more in the beginning.
Better,
but you've done a good,
yeah.
but you've done a good job with
Better late than never.
So-
Better late, yeah, you've done a great job.
that. Last question. So you've gone through, some pretty significant changes as an affiliate owner. Words of advice or lessons learned for other affiliate owners out there who are stressed about the same thing, because there's a lot of them.
About price increases?
About any of those things that I don't even care what the answer is. This is whatever you want to say.
Well, trust the process would be the key here, but know your worth. Like, what if you are genuinely caring about people and you know that you're offering good programming and a great place, like, know your worth and trust that your members can then know their worth. And it comes with you knowing your worth. I mean, it's a big circle effect here, right? So they don't want to come into a place where the vibe is not great. But if you know that you've got a great place, then they're excited to be there. And then you have less doubts about every other thing, like about price increases or about, equipment fees or whatever, because it's just a big environmental change. That makes sense.
It made perfect sense.
Okay.
Know your worth, yeah. Makes
Know
perfect
your
sense.
worth and just own it. Like, yeah, I wish I could have told myself that a year ago, but
Hey.
here we are.
Hey, what are you
Yeah,
telling yourself
better
now?
tell you, yeah.
Good job.
We're gonna see you in Disney. We got our Orlando Mastermind.
January?
She's
there.
heading up the
24th,
Disney contingency, the group of people going there to do Disney things.
You're going and taking your children.
We very likely are. My
Oh,
wife is
I don't wanna
adamant
have to
about
do- I
it,
don't wanna
and
do
my
that.
daughter keeps bringing it up.
We got
so.
it planned.
Why'd you tell her?
She
good.
still wants to go to Wild on the Waves, dude.
She's how old?
You're like, that was 5 years ago.
Literally, she's like, "Are we going on that cruise?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't think so, honey." Anyway,
Boppity boutique.
yeah, big
It's gonna get done.
boutique. But
Well, we are
hey, we might be
excited.
bringing back Wild on the Waves, guys. We don't know.
We're gonna see you there.
Marcus.
We're super excited, and man, it's been really fun, Julia. I'm proud of you.
Cool. And if you guys are in Tullahoma, stop in.
Yeah, so Jack Daniels is only 15 minutes. If you come visit Jack
He's
Daniels,
still alive?
come up.
He's a member.
Yeah, every day.
Yeah.
Jimmy Daniels.
Nothing better than drunk CrossFit. All right, guys. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks.
Thanks for checking out this episode of the Best Hour of Their Day podcast. We appreciate you listening and choosing to have us help you in your passion for coaching and affiliate ownership. You can find more episodes just like this on all podcast platforms. If you're interested in learning more, you can reach out to us on any social media platforms, or you can visit www.besthouroftheirday.com to book a call. If you found this episode helpful for you, please share it so that we can help other coaches and affiliate owners to help build a bigger and stronger CrossFit community. Thanks for listening.